Hey, what's up everybody? This is Coach Ryan C, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to test for and find your heart rate zones for training. So in this episode, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to test for your heart rate and find your heart rate zones. A couple things that you're going to need is a GPS watch and a heart rate monitor. I've got a couple here. This is a Garmin chest strap, and this is a wrist strap that reads with infrared light. It's made by Mio. They both work really well. You just got to get one that will connect to your watch. For this test, you'll also have to have a place where you can run for 30 to 40 minutes, preferably a track. If you don't have a track, just a flat out and back section of road would be great. You just don't want wind to be a factor. If it is windy, you want to be able to turn around and come back the other way and have it cancel each other out. Yeah, you're going to need a GPS watch, a heart rate strap, and a place to run. Now, there's probably a lot of different theories out there for testing your heart rate, but the two that I like the best and use the most with myself and with my athletes is the Maffetone method, also called MAF or max aerobic functioning, and then also one that was kind of developed by Joe Friel called Lactate Threshold heart rate. And I'll be talking about both of those in detail in this episode. So the first one we're going to focus on is the Maffetone method. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the maximum aerobic functioning level for you individually. It's really pretty easy. Basically what you do is you take the number 180 and you subtract your age. So if you're 30 years old, you're going to take 180 minus 30. It's going to be 150. That is your MAF heart rate level that you're going to want to keep while we're testing. It's pretty easy. You just go out to your track, turn on your GPS watch, connect your heart rate strap, make sure it's communicating properly, and you're going to go out and you're going to run for 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to warm up to the point where you're slowly going to be raising your heart rate until you get to that 150 or whatever it is. If you're 32 years old, it's going to be 148 beats per minute. So you're slowly going to be getting up to that level, and then you're going to sit there. Try to stay exactly at that heart rate for either 3, 4, or 5 miles, depending on whatever your coach says. If they're really not in shape, if it's the beginning of the season, we'll just do 3 miles, because sometimes it's hard to hold this. If it's more of a mid-season test or towards the end of the season up to it before a race, I'll do 4 or 5 miles. And what you're doing is for those 3 to 5 mile, that interval right in there, you're really trying to stay right on that MAF heart rate. So you'll take your GPS watch, you'll hit start, you'll go running, you'll go around the track for 10 to 15 minutes, slowly bringing your heart rate up to your MAF heart rate level. And then once you get there and you're sure that it's leveled and that you can control it at that level, you're going to hit the lap button, and then you're just going to stay there. However fast or slow you go, it doesn't matter. You want that heart rate to stay right there, right at 150 or 148 or 147. If you go plus or minus 1 or 2 or 3, it's not a huge deal, but you want to try and get right back. And it's really important that you're going to be doing this in a place like a track, because you're not going to be able to control your heart rate as easily if you're going up and down hills or any other sort of obstacles or anything like that. So 3, 4, 5 miles, as soon as you hit that mark, so say we're doing a 3-mile test, as soon as you hit 3 miles, you hit your lap button again, then you cool down for 10 or 15 minutes, and that's the whole test. So once the test is over, you go back home, you plug your GPS watch into your computer, and you're going to pull up that file, whether it's on Garmin, Training Peaks, or Strava, and you're going to look at that test interval. So those 3 miles, you're going to look at mile 1, mile 2, mile 3, and you're going to look at the paces. What were they? Were they 8:45, 8:47, 8:49? You're going to take the average of those. So you've got an average of 8:47. That's your MAF pace. So your coach will probably do a lot of workouts at MAF pace or MAF heart rate. So your heart rate is only going to change when you get older, and then you're going to want to bring it down 1 beat per minute. Your MAF pace is going to change throughout the season. Every time you test, hopefully you'll be getting faster. If you're not getting faster, then you're doing something wrong in training. You're probably running too fast, too slow. You're not putting in the right amount of work. For this method to work, you have to put in the right amount of work. You can't be putting in more or less. It's not going to work. You need to focus on that MAF heart rate. You need to focus on getting more efficient at that MAF heart rate. That's the only way this method works. Then 4, 6, 8 weeks later, you're gonna go back and do the same exact test. So you're gonna do it, if it's a Saturday, you're gonna do it on a Saturday. You're gonna eat the same breakfast, you're gonna use the same gear, you're gonna go out there. Hopefully it's about the same weather. You're gonna do the test again, exactly the same way. Hopefully what's happened, if you're training right, your average pace is going to be faster. Then over the course of a season, over the course of seasons, year to year, hopefully you bring that pace down. If your pace is coming down, it's pretty amazing that you're actually going faster at the same amount of work, because your heart rate tells you basically how much work your body's doing. So if you're still running at 150 beats per minute, but you're going a minute per mile faster, that's a pretty huge improvement. And that's basically the whole test and method and theory in a nutshell, is that you want your body to become more efficient at the same amount of work. MAF method, that's it. Okay, so this next method was developed by Joe Friel. It's he just kind of calls it the lactate threshold heart rate test method. But whenever you hear somebody talking about zones, heart rate zones, this is what they're talking about. So this test is pretty much set up the same. You're gonna need your GPS watch. You're gonna need your heart rate monitor. So you're gonna go out to the track and you're gonna warm up. This isn't as important how long the warm up is. You don't have to do it slowly. You just wanna go out there, run a couple laps until you're working pretty good. You want your heart rate to be up. You want to be moving smoothly. You don't want to injure yourself by going too hard, too fast. After you warm up, you're going to go into your test interval, which is made up of 2 smaller intervals. It's 30 minutes, and you're treating it like a race. The first 10 minutes, you're going for it. You want to rev that engine hard, and you're not sprinting because you need this to last for 30 minutes, but you're going hard. 10 minutes into it, you hit your lap button, and the second interval is 20 minutes long, and that is really what you're taking the data from. So it's a 30-minute race pace test. It's important that your effort is pretty even throughout the whole thing. So if you start out in those first 10 minutes, you're running 5-minute miles, and the last 20 minutes, your average is 8-minute miles, you did the test wrong. You want your pace to be pretty much the same throughout the whole thing. You're probably gonna slow down a little bit towards the end. That's okay. You just don't want it to be super obvious, and you don't want it to crash and burn 20 minutes into this test. So again, it's a 30-minute race pace interval, and you hit your lap button 10 minutes in. After those 30 minutes, you cool down. Once you do then, you go back home, you plug your GPS watch into your computer, and you pull it up on Garmin or Training Peaks or Strava, and you're looking at that second interval of the race interval in those 20 minutes, and you're gonna take your average heart rate of that 20 minutes. Your average heart rate for the last 20 minutes is your lactate threshold heart rate. And that's a number that you want to keep track of. You want to save that, you want to write that down. This might change a little bit throughout the season, might not, it just depends. It's different with different people. The next part of this is going to take a little math, so get out your calculator. I'm going to put it right over here. I'm also going to link to it down below. Zone 1 is going to be up to 85% of your lactate threshold heart rate. Zone 2 is going to be 85 to 89%. Zone 3 is going to be 90 to 94%. Zone 4 is going to be 95 to 99%. Zone 5 is split up into 3 smaller zones, A, B, and C, and those numbers are right here. Now for the bike, those numbers are a little bit lower. I'm going to put those numbers right here. I'm not going to go through them all. You can click the link or just pause this video and write them down. The reason why they're a little bit lower is because the bike, it just doesn't take as much work from your body to get into these zones. And that is Joe Friel's lactate threshold heart rate zone approach. I like to use both of these. I think they both have great value. I think that you can test for both of them and you can compare the results. So this isn't like science, this is just something I've observed. The closer those numbers are, usually the better results people are going to be getting out of their races and out of their training. Farther apart those numbers are, more work they need. So the question now is, what kind of athletes need this type of training? I think all athletes can benefit from this type of training. Obviously, a long distance athlete, a marathoner, ultra marathoner, even a half marathoner or, you know, a century cyclist, anything like that, they're going to benefit by really dialing in that zone 2 or MAF heart rate, getting that aerobic base really, really strong, becoming very efficient. Those type of people are really going to benefit from this type of training. If you're a 5K athlete or a miler or you run the 800, you're really going to benefit from this too, because doing this is going to make you a more efficient athlete. The faster you can go at a lower level of work, the better athlete you're going to be. You're going to be faster at all levels. So a couple final thoughts. Don't be discouraged by your numbers. Everybody is unique. Just because my numbers are here and your numbers are somewhere else, just because you read online that this is a good number to have or that's a bad number to have, don't worry about that. Throw it out the window. Your numbers are your numbers and they're no one else's, and all you're trying to do is improve upon where you are right now. So if you do these tests and the numbers come back and you're really disappointed, get over that real fast, because the whole point of this is just to make improvement. The more training you do in zone 2, the better you're going to be in zone 2. The more training you do at MAF, the better you're going to be at MAF. The more efficient your body is going to become, the better you're going to use fat for fuel. You're not going to have to use as much of that glycogen and carbs, and you're not going to have to eat as much during a race, and it's just all around better. It's as simple as that. Later, I'm going to talk about what this type of training looks like, what it looks like to go out and run at MAF or zone 2. What are some of the theories behind zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and implementing that in your training and trying to get great results from a really balanced approach. Going into your training with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of science on your side, having targets, having goals, finding data that you can improve upon is really the goal with this. Becoming a better athlete, becoming faster, becoming more efficient, getting those results that you're looking for, maybe hitting that distance that you've never hit before. That's why we're doing all of this. So that's it for now. I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching.